I'm Shana Darabie, writer, director, and producer of Canary Trap. Canary Trap is okay. Canary delivers packages for secret organization HQ. After accepting her mission, Canary's connected with a dispatcher who pushes her boundaries. Forced to go against HQ's directives, Canary finds herself questioning everything and everyone around her. I started writing that back in March 2020 before the pandemic went into full swing. It was really inspired by another person I know who has a sister with mental health issues, and kind of had the idea to tell that story from the point of view of the character herself and play with the idea of an espionage story, and rather than go the boring route of, oh, this is just sad. And also wanted to do something refreshing where it wasn't a story of mental health where it was just like women be crazy or women are scary when they're crazy and stuff like that, and really make a sympathetic portrait of a person thoroughly from their point of view. So this film was important to me for multiple reasons. One was to tell this story using a female character of color, because I feel like women of color are already not seen on screen enough as is, and then on top of that, there's a very narrow depiction of women of color suffering with mental health issues, and we don't really get a wide variety of stories about women of color, and that was a big inspiration for me, is to do that. And when I found Mieko Gavia, our lead actress, she was just like amazing to find because she totally understood the character, and she, while filming, helped inspire a lot of the direction the story took by just giving her input. It was a real collaboration with her, so that was really great process. So my DP, Frankie Turiano, I ended up finding him quite by accident. Another filmmaker I was collaborating with, Ben Bowman, I asked him, hey, do you know a good DP? And he said, you should reach out to Frankie Turiano. Frankie's great. And I did, and told him about the script and explained that I really visually wanted to take inspiration from like 70s paranoia thrillers where you're just not quite sure if the person's okay or if the conspiracy is real. So I referenced the films like 3 Days of the Condor, Marathon Man. I'm a big Brian De Palma fan, so stuff like Fury and Blow Up. And he was it? Oh, actually, the John Travolta movie's Blowout or Blow Up. It's one of those two. I know that's inspired by another film, but I mentioned those, and he was just like, yes, I get that. And it was really exciting to work with a DP that fully understood what I wanted to do and was very inspired and excited to work on this project. He was just like, we could use these kind of lenses and do this. And like, he was very, very great to collaborate with. And he brought his A game. So I was very excited to find out that I was one of the winners of the production services grant. It was, to say the least, opening that email, I was ecstatic. And I know it's going to go a long way towards helping us reach that finish line of having a complete film. There's always lots of little things that you have to take care of in filmmaking, and you know, you never want to end up in a position where you're like $300 short of finishing your film. So this grant, it's helping us get over the finish line. So that's such a awesome thing, and I'm very excited about it. So, previously I was a fashion designer of all things. I moved to New York from Corpus Christi, Texas, where I lived for like 9 years of my life and got immersed in being a kid in the Gulf Coast. Um, Moved to New York. I studied fashion at FIT and realized, even though it was a creative career, it wasn't the career for me. And I'd been passionate about storytelling since childhood. I was always that kid that would get that creative writing assignment and would write 10 pages instead of the 3 the teacher asked, and got into the details about the paintings they had on the walls and the outfits they wore and their personalities, and would go above and beyond with my storytelling just because I loved storytelling so much. So I left fashion and initially worked as a motion graphics artist because I figured I have no idea how to get into film. How about I use skills I already have? And did that for a while, and that was very fun, but still not exactly what I wanted to do. So during the pandemic, I went back to school and studied screenwriting and religious studies at Brooklyn College. Sadly, I'm still not done with my degree, my double major, because I'm a crazy person. I have 1 class left, so, which is terrible. But it was a really great experience. I got to meet amazing people, and I, eventually started working in film. So I started doing more production and pre-production work, which was really fun. A few years back, actually, during the pandemic, I was part of Women in Media's camaraderie. I was associate producer on Jen Shaw's short film, Charlie and the Hunt, which was an amazing experience. Got to go out to LA. One of our actresses was Lauren Ridloff, which was astounding. She's a great actress. I learned some ASL, which was a really cool, and that inspired me to actually write a pilot featuring a hard of hearing character. And I also wrote a sci-fi action feature featuring a hard of hearing character also. So that was very inspiring. After that, I worked on a lot of other really amazing projects. I also was just this last summer part of Women's Weekend Film Challenge as one of the writers on a really great short film called Trouble Connecting, which I co-wrote with Kim Marcelino, and it was directed by the amazing Lee Milby. She's spectacular. Check out her stuff. So I've gotten to do a lot of stuff like that, and currently I work in development at Department of Motion Pictures, which is really fun and exciting, and learning so much about production and development, obviously, and producing. It's a really great experience working with some amazing filmmakers. I still write. I write mostly like horror, science fiction, and action. I really love writing that kind of stuff, especially with female characters. Women are big viewers of horror and sci-fi, yet we do not get to often be on the screen. The like Ripley and Sarah Connor, like such important characters in sci-fi and horror, and it just feels like it only happens once in a while. So I wanted to be one of those I want to be one of those filmmakers that puts that more the forefront of having women and people of color on screen and behind the camera also, because you don't want your diversity to just be topical. So that's been very important to me. And telling stories is one of my favorite things to do. One of my friends told me, your stories always feature, you think one thing is happening, but it's actually something else. And I was like, oh yeah, I never noticed that about my writing before. So that has been really fun. I guess people should check out my website, mybotworks.com. I have a lot of my film design and photography work on there, which I'm very proud of course. I'm planning on making a new short film by the end of the year. I want to do a really fun short sci-fi horror feature. A sci-fi horror short. I'm also planning a kind of horror comedy web series next year, so applying for grants for that right now. So I'm very excited and writing the episode, so it's a lot of fun and also very terrifying. So part of filmmaking, just being terrified all the time.